Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on reporting and analytics made easy with Dynamics GP SmartInsight. Thank you all very much for making the time to attend this webinar, and I hope it provides you with a good introduction into how reporting out of Dynamics GP can be enhanced with a best practice business intelligence tool in ClickView quickly, easily and affordably. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Konrad Wielgosz. I'm a BDM with Professional Advantage, and it's my pleasure again to welcome you all to this webinar. So what is Dynamics GP SmartInsight? I guess firstly you wouldn't have heard of this, although you're all working with Dynamics GP, and possibly you haven't heard of ClickView. Let me first introduce ClickView before I talk about Dynamics GP SmartInsight. What is ClickView? ClickView is a leading, in fact, an industry-leading business intelligence and analytics platform. It's something that's in use by over 31,000 companies globally. It's a recognized leader in the field. It's been in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for some years now, and it's referred to as the pioneering for what's known as data discovery. And the way in which we talk about data discovery is that it's a paradigm effectively that allows business users to ask questions of their data, to collaborate around their data to make faster and better business decisions, and obviously to act out those business decisions to enhance their business performance. We refer often to this as to empowering organizations with ClickView as providing them with knowledge to action, and that's something that you'll hear us talk about on occasion. So what is SmartInsight? SmartInsight is a solution that allows us to deliver best practice business intelligence with ClickView to Dynamics GP customers at minimal cost and fuss. What we found in working, as I noted previously, Dynamics GP is a cornerstone product that we work with. We're one of Australia's largest Microsoft Dynamics GP partners, and in our experience in working with Dynamics GP, notwithstanding some of the business intelligence features that it offers, we still found the following sort of problems. An over-reliance generally of Dynamics GP users on Excel for management reporting, often the need to consolidate, and thus the use of Excel for reporting purposes as well, often the need to consolidate information from Dynamics GP with other data, with their CRM, with your CRM data, perhaps some other time costing software or operational software. So report preparation becoming manual and time-consuming, having to deal with very large data volumes, as is often the case both with GP and other systems, and by working with Excel, having difficulty in controlling information, not having a central repository of information, and having a single source of truth were some of the things that we found in working with our customers, and thus we brought ClickView to bear over Dynamics GP as a reporting tool, and we look forward to showing you some ClickView applications that talk to how it can visualize that information out of Dynamics GP and allow you to engage in those data dialogues, to ask questions of your data in an interactive, visual and intuitive way. Let me introduce you to my colleague Graham Smith. Graham's a senior consultant at Professional Advantage. He's been working with ClickView and GP for many years. Prior to that, I understand he was at one stage a financial controller. He has more than 20 years management accounting experience, has worked with numerous platforms, and for the last 20 or so years with Dynamics GP. He's been with the ClickView business unit since its inception, and I'm sure you'll gain something from his presentation, as I know I will too. let me pass you on to Graham Smith without further ado. Graham?
Thank you very much, Konrad. Okay, I'm going to show you a demonstration of the Dynamics GP SmartInsights, and so I might as well hop straight into it and fire off my access point. So the access point for ClickView is a web browser, whether that's Internet Explorer as I'm using or any other web browser, Safari on your iPad, for example. So I'm presented here with, I've got 7 apps here. Like to call them apps. Other people can call them reports or dashboards or the like, but we tend to call them dynamic apps. So I'm just going to go into my favorites, the ones I'm going to show you through today. Now the Dynamics GP SmartInsight is a single model which covers financials, sales, purchasing, receivables, payables, inventory, project accounting, and fixed assets. And in a typical deployment would be a single app covering all those areas. But for demonstration purposes, just to pull out some information from different sorts of organizations, I've got it sitting here in 4 apps looking at individual areas. So the first thing I'm going to hop into is my financial demo. So this is and the landing page for the financial app. Now I'm just going to tell you a couple of ClickView related concepts. ClickView is an associative in-memory tool. So I've now jumped into here and I've got presented real information live, and what I want to now do is make some selections. So as soon as I select 2014, 2014 becomes green, 2015 and 2011, 12 and 13 are greyed out because they're not associated with the data I'm selecting. And the selection on the months underneath has all months in white. If I was to select 2015, I've now got only 6 white months because I've got data in there up until December 2015 and nothing from January to June. Sorry, December 2014, this is an Australian financial year. And what that's doing is it's saying I've got data associated with the first 6 months and not the second 6 months. And while that might seem a very basic sort of concept, later on in ClickView, this becomes very powerful because not only are you seeing things that you're asking to see, answering questions that you're already answering, or already know you want to ask, sorry, you're actually presented with other questions. You might be seeing things that you didn't ask. You know, if you're looking at sales, you might be seeing people that you've sold to this year, or people that you sold to last year that haven't purchased this year, or expenses in a particular area that were high last year and that you haven't got anything coming through this year. You know, you can then sort of ask questions, well, why haven't we received that? So, okay, so the first thing I've done is I've selected to 2014, and I'm going to select a month, February, and I start seeing the information filter down. So I'm now seeing some high-level KPIs here, a little profit and loss statement down here, and a chart down the bottom. Now, this might not be the way that you want to see it. ClickView is highly customizable, and you will see that we've got a number of different looks and feels on different tabs and through the product, you know, and color schemes, completely customizable and the like. So what we're now finding as we develop these apps is that we're putting less and less into traditional selection boxes and more with actually using the data that's on the screen. So if you imagine I'm holding this on my iPad, for example, I've got both of my hands down the bottom, and I might want to click with my left thumb over August. I can actually just select with my left thumb and now I've now selected August's results. I can select again with my thumb and deselect the data. I can use my back buttons to go back to where I was. And while that might seem, pretty self-explanatory that you can jump backwards and forwards, you can actually make bookmarks based on those positions, and you can see variations between one select and the next select. Just a couple of things on the underlying model within here. So obviously we're pulling information from the general ledger, the financial system, full transactional data. So if we wanted to, we could drill right down to the underlying transactions for anything that we select on here. I won't talk too much about these full and proportional bits over there, but they're very powerful in the model. They allow for different views. You might have proportional ownership of certain organizations or certain companies or databases. So you want to see the full position or the proportional system. And the proportional would be your view of it. So if you had multi-currency, if you had companies in US dollars or New Zealand dollars and the like, you're going to be able to swap backwards and forwards between US dollars and Australian dollars fully converted. These particular areas up here are just different cost centers or segments of the chart of accounts. So they can be things that are built into your GP system, or you might have groupings that are outside of your chart of accounts kept within GP. You might have a certain range of your chart of accounts which indicate R&D departments and another that indicates commercial areas and the like. So I'm just going to hop on the overheads tab. Now you might notice on these tabs that these have little green buttons against them. So what they mean is that I've made a selection which impacts all the way across there. So as I've made a selection on one page, it carries forward to all the other tabs. So I can jump backwards and forwards and see the impact on different areas. So this is a more visual, different representation of your overheads. So what we've done here is, rather than use the traditional actual versus budget in a tabular form, is we've used colors on the numbers to indicate, I think I've put here, above 98% is red, below 98% is yellow, and the like. So if I now flick to the across to the year to date, I can see 100%, over 100% is red. Down here we can see some which are within the green area. Now the top area of this chart, I've put that in as a static position, and down below I can actually say, well, I'm seeing more and more detail. So you tend to organize things going down in more detail and across to the right in more detail. Not necessarily that you have to, but that's just a traditional way of looking at things. So if I select on advertising and marketing, I've now seen my bottom area now filtered to that particular selection. So I could have selected on that particular advertising button again with my thumb or finger, and I can select on a pie chart the same sort of way, click and deselect. So it's very intuitive. You don't have to tell people go to this particular area, press this or drop down or whatever. Really anything within the real estate there in front of you is available to just press your finger on and see a result come back. If you want to double click on things to sort them alphabetically and the like, you can just do that and interact that way. I'm going to move across to a bit more detail, and so the underlying data here is all about the general ledger side of things. So if you're building this up, it's nice to have the same system building up your typical financial reports and the like. So we've designed this so that we can quickly put down a whole heap of different P&L and balance sheets and cash flows and the like. I'm just showing you one example here. There's various things within ClickView that you can do. You could save that out. You could dump it out to images or the like. On this particular one, I've just put it send to Excel, so I can just quickly send that to Excel, and that should fire straight up to the screen. And there we go. We've got that in Excel. Just going to go across to the next tab, and just for a different view, here's another way of seeing that sort of information. In the SmartInsight accelerator that we've built, we've got 15, 20 different report layouts in the back, and we've got dozens of different pre-built headings such as year to date, month to date, same period last year, last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, up to 24 months ago, budgets, forecasts and the like. And so again, they're all different areas that anywhere you can select, even a row down here. So if I was to pick on sales expenses, I see the same sort of thing. You know, I'm selecting and affecting each one of the areas. So in here I've got a number of different balance sheet formats. We've got some high-level trends on some ratios, EBITDA, revenue and the like, some balance sheet trends and the like. So as you see, I've got colours consistent across there for all my particular areas on this business and coming through. And further on here we go down through to the trial balance, 20 or so different master reports and waterfall graphs, right down to the transactional detail underneath. So that's the financial part of the accelerator. And you know, generally when you put the financial in, you know, there's a fair bit of you know, tweaking on sort of what people's KPIs are and the like. You know, everybody's view of measuring their metrics of a financial business on the financial level, it probably tends to be different. The next area is the sales dashboard, and it's so happened that I started off on developing this, or we started off developing this on the financials. The second area was the sales. Now sales, when you bring in obviously your sales order processing modules, you bring in your inventory items, you bring in your customers and everything associated with that. So that particular model, the sales analysis, is something that as soon as you drop it down, within 5 minutes of having that on your site, you're seeing information in a different way. It doesn't require much. You know, you might want to have different look and feel, put your own logos on, put different charts and the like, but immediately you're seeing all the information that you've got coming from Dynamics GP, you know, and it's immediately proving benefits. So here, just to give something as a jump start into it, we put some sales overviews, some sales by customer per week and the like. And what you see here are these, we've got some drill downs and drill throughs and cycles, so I can go through and I can look for particular item numbers and the like, if I wanted to select a particular item number, and then show through and the customers. And you see building up data, I run out of imagination on what to put down for names and the like. So we can cycle through this, and basically it will keep that selection. So I'm now looking at particular item W1002, and I'm seeing all the customers and seeing all the information. Again, I could click on any one of these particular months to change the selection of the month, and then I could go back to my selection where I was sitting before. We've built in some what-if analysis. So if we click there on the what-if, we can see that information coming through. What was to happen if our price was to decrease 10% and cost was to go up 15%, and we think volume would then go down 10%. You know, how does that impact? And if we click here right through on the details, I'm going to go straight through and see the underlying details, right down to the invoice lines that are on any particular sale. So we've got some further sort of things that we put down on the sales analysis, volumes, variation by item, by customer, so that you can sort of see, well, what's a customer sold, for example, over the last 20 weeks compared to the 20 weeks beforehand, or anything like that. The receivables, so I've left the receivables in here, and what we can see there is just some debtors aging and the like, and so we can very quickly get historical age trial balances. So just at a click we can see what our debtors were a year ago, 6 months ago, or the like, and within seconds see the variations in exposure on debtors. So that's the sales side of things. As I said, that's very quick, but if we put down the sales analysis side of things, it's immediately showing results and benefit within minutes. The next bit I'm going to look is the project accounting dashboard. So on the project accounting dashboard, this usually requires a little bit of configuration, maybe half a day or something like that. So what that does is it pulls in information, and you might want to have pull in things by your general ledger account numbers, for example, or your cost categories and groupings and the like. So so what we're seeing here is we're seeing, first of all, some sales analysis where we can drill down. So as opposed to a cycle, we've got to drill down and drill up. We've got rolling 12 months year to date, rolling 12 months month to date figures, and different breakdowns of that information, and any selection criteria that we could use down here, so we can sort of look down and see the states and the like. And we've got the same information plus more on life to date and year to date. So within here we get the timesheet hours and timesheet dollars, purchases and miscellaneous logs and expenses and the like. So as I said, the project accounting one usually requires a little bit of tweaking to sort of, because project accounting is such a flexible model itself, everybody is using that differently. So I chose these in 2 that require a little bit of tweaking and 2 that you can drop down straight away. Now the next one I'm going to show you is the purchase order analysis, or the purchasing analysis. And this, you might think, oh, it's only 1 page, there's not much there. But what we have here is we have information coming through straight away showing amounts extended, buyer IDs, promise dates and the like. So at any point of time we can see what purchase orders were raised, what the price was, the expected cost of it, whether it was received, when it was promised, how much is outstanding, and about the only configuration on here is what requires your delivery in full on time. When I developed this for the first time for a client, for the first particular client, they gave us a list of somewhere between 40 and 50 different reports they wanted to replace out of GP. And when we delivered this 1 page to them, they were basically saying, is this it? Is this all our data? It was one of those moments where the clients just really had to realign their view of what they were actually seeing. They were so used to working within Dynamics GP and drilling around backwards and forwards to find the answer to different sorts of problems. Right. Now, what we've got over here is different ways. You might have noticed these filter boxes along on some of the different areas. So this is just another way of pulling in the information. So what we can do here is we can drop down and see the list of all the customers and all the suppliers or whatever. But you don't just have to go through left to right. You can just type in Smith, enter, and we're basically seeing everything in the database that has got Smith in the name. So that was filtering down. So any selection box, multi-box, drop-down, list box, you can use that sort of functionality within ClickView. So very, very fast returning data. What we've included up here as well is a search box. Now, what this does, and at the beginning, you might have this searching the whole of your underlying data model. So if I was to type in here, start typing in here, Smith, I can see everywhere within the database where I've got Smith, whether it's Smith Street or Dick Smith's or the like. So that's a very powerful way of getting to understand the underlying data within your systems. So when we do a new implementation, we leave that on for the initial side of things so that we are searching the whole of the database that's coming through. So we don't just sort of bring in one or two fields from a table, we bring in the whole underlying table into the data model. So if we're putting this out on your site and you walk in and say to me, we've got these invoices, you walk in with a piece of paper in front of you, and you say, we want to see the impact of that. I don't know where people key it into Dynamics GP. I don't know what field they put in this, but I'm sure they key it in somewhere. We can just hop in this search box like a Google search, type in the name, and up it will come. And we can basically get an answer there. Now we're looking here at this model broken down into various different areas. But when you have all areas of this installed over Dynamics GP, think how powerful it could be to walk in and just on a search box type in XYZ Industries and immediately have that return, and you could see the impact that that has on your business. Not only would you see any suppliers' invoices for them, if they're supplying inventory that you're on selling, you would then see the impact of that across your sales module. You would also see anywhere that that is hit in the general ledger, and it could even be that people that you purchase from, you sell to as well. So you could basically say, right, I want to have a full impact of the way this company XYZ has impacted our business, type it into a search box and select it. And that is where you will find answers to questions that you hadn't even thought of asking before. Okay. I think I've gone a little bit fast through all this, so a little bit ahead of schedule. So
that's all right, Graham. You've painted a good picture in any case. I'm just going to flick back to the slides there. Look, just wanted to add to that, and maybe you did run through the applications quickly. You talked about dynamic applications. So firstly, just by way of clarity, often we talk about ClickView documents and dynamic applications, and we showed a number there, or Graham went through a number there, I guess, of the ClickView documents or dynamic applications. But fundamentally, what we're talking about is replacing those, as Graham said in the purchasing application, we replaced up to 50 different reports, and one can think of a ClickView application as a reporting pack. So something, an application that's made of a number of worksheets, if you like, that visualize that information, that can the information out of Dynamics GP, that can consolidate other information and provide you with the ability to drill in on and indeed to interrogate that data and to ask questions of that data. I guess one of the things we didn't talk about was collaboration, but we can get to that through questions. Look, some real life examples, I guess, of this. We've worked with, and in fact, one of the reasons why we put together the Dynamics GP SmartInsights is that we've deployed ClickView to, or SmartInsights, I should say, to over 30 GP customers. I'd said that GP is a product line, a solution that that is a cornerstone of the professional advantage business, and in so many instances we've found that management reporting, the financial team has been engaged in a manual management reporting task, often working in Excel. One of the cases of a professional association that comes to mind is that it was taking some 5 days for the business analysts there to put together month-end reporting, and in delivering SmartInsights and ClickView as the business intelligence platform to that organisation, that was reduced to minutes, effectively. Talking to the sales dashboard, another case in point with a GP customer is that the way in which the sales team engages now in and around sales reporting and the collaboration, the collaborative features of ClickView allow them to run those meetings and to have dialogues around that information, around their sales information, with their respective sales reps and with the management team there, and can answer questions and ask questions of one another as they're working with that data. Look, before we go on to questions, I just wanted to flag as well what we've thought to put together by way of an offer around Dynamics GP SmartInsights. We thought generally, or not generally, to preface again, a SmartInsights is some IP that we've put together within ClickView that allows us to connect ClickView to GP. The way in which it's packaged generally is that it allows us to deliver reporting out of Dynamics GP more quickly, and to give you those sorts of ClickView applications that we demonstrated. ClickView itself is a server-based business intelligence platform, so it does require a number of license types, and those are the small business server license and a minimum of 5 named user CALs. So general, we would the overall cost of, or the minimum cost, I should say, in rolling out Dynamics GP SmartInsight would be $22,950. We're able to offer a discount to those attending this webinar, and have discounted that appropriately by 10% for a spend of $20,000, and increase that discount to 20% on a solution that's the costs over $40,000. Now, I do know as well that obviously we're talking about visualizing the information out of Dynamics GP, and whilst that's ready solution that can be delivered virtually out of the box, it does allow for much greater capability and that of integrating other data sources and systems. Over and above that, I guess we find that in working and partnering with our clients around ClickView, we do need to provide some leadership and direction, and have offered a free optimization review of 90 days into a deployment using a governance dashboard that we often run with ClickView as well to show you some usage statistics and to give you some insight as to how ClickView as a business intelligence platform is being used across the organisation. Yeah, just wanted to flag as well that that obviously the offer does have an expiry date, and if it's something that you guys would like to take advantage of, then we can do that by June 30. I just wanted to say most of you already have a relationship with us, so please contact your account manager if you'd like any further information, and obviously my colleague Fraser Moore as well, who put together the offer and indeed invited you all to this webinar. Without further ado, I guess I did notice that there was a question. Let me just sort of flick to questions. We've got a couple. So I just wanted to ask Graham, or put to Graham the first question. The first question, Graham, is or refers to the financial dashboard. The question is that we can see a number of transactions through the GL account. So can we see the number of actual transactions within the GL account, or can we just see the dollar amounts? Say you have a bank clearing account or another clearing account. We would like to see how many line items there are in addition to the dollar values. Do you want to talk to that and how the applications give visibility of that information, Graham?
Thank you. Yes, definitely, Konrad. Yes, basically you're pulling everything into the application, so you can do counts and averages, anything you can think of doing in Excel with the raw data, we can do, and do it faster and more visually representative. So yes, you can definitely do that.
Graham, would you like the screen perhaps to be able to show some of that functionality? No, Graham.
Yeah, I'm just thinking whether I've got anything on there to some examples where I've brought in numbers into this.
Look at it's okay. Maybe if we get a subsequent question. Just wanted to remind everyone that that you do have a question and answers or questions box at the bottom of your screens, and if you'd like to ask some more questions, please take the opportunity to do so whilst we're both online.
Yeah. There's another. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, Graham, another question is just an explanation or a question around ClickView, asking, does it work with multiple databases? So if you could perhaps talk to what ClickView is again.
Yeah, absolutely. So it works over multiple databases and multiple different systems as well, not just Dynamics GP. I would say a majority of our implementations are pulling data in from other areas. Certainly if you're doing multi-currency consolidations, it's usually over multiple different companies and consolidating those all together so you can see the different views. I've done one of the multi-currency ones I did about 18 months ago was over about 25 different companies, and they were reporting up to 3 different levels. So they had a view from Europe, so in European euros, in the US dollars, and in Australian dollars. So we were looking at it, the same data from 3 different areas with 3 different consolidation trees. And so we were able to just select the reporting currency on the one set of reports or dashboards, as you like, whatever you want to call them. But as soon as you selected, say, the European ones, the row layouts below actually changed because there were different roll-up points depending on which sort of currency consolidation levels you were at. Another one was an organization that said, well, that they were going through a review of their full chart of accounts. They were just going to embark on a complete restructure because their numbering had got out of alignment, and they were trying to bring it into line with their CRM and retail system. And with ClickView, we were able to work within this current chart of accounts and link to the other systems across, so that in the front end people were seeing what they were used to seeing in their management reporting without any change to their underlying structure.
Thanks for that, Graham. Graham, I was just going to ask you a question around collaboration. We talk a lot about the collaboration within ClickView, and in fact I just wanted to maybe flick back to you and give you control of the screen. So you could run us through how it is that we share information within a ClickView environment. So you showed us that you could export a table to Excel, perhaps, but what else can you do around collaborating and engaging some of those data dialogues?
Right. Well, within the application when you've got it here, so when you open in your browser, what you can do is you can select a box and send out the equivalent of a go-to meeting or webinar invite straight off to Excel, straight off to your email, and other people can join in while you've got the session open. So they're using your license, not their own license. So they just hook in on the web and they are viewing your results. So you might come through here and be talking to your results for February for the sales division, and you have the manager on the line. We're talking about what happened in this particular month, and as we've got the results all in front of us and you can go back at any particular time, what we can do here is we can actually go through and create a note, and we can add a note. And my manager might be talking to me and say, how come our results were so good for this month, or they were so bad? And might say, talking to Graham, Fraser helping me, so the good results for the month. And if I click this take snapshot, I've now added a snapshot of that position. So later on, we can come back here and we might want to clear the results. And if we go through to the show or hide notes, I can see, whoops, the notes, and I didn't save it properly. If it's pull the note up, select that, select the snapshot, and it will go back to exactly that position. So those notes are kept on the server, and they're reportable on themselves. So you can actually work within there to keep notes. You can actually design these reports yourself. So I don't want to get too much into the designing of the reports, but you've got a repository, so we could go through to the repository of reports and start designing things within the sheets itself and add those up. So I might want to put a particular chart on there. I just drag that into the report, and what that does is it's not changing the underlying master report. It's creating another version on the server which is there for just me. I can share that out with certain people if I like. The administrator on the server can go in and say, well, hey, Graham, you shouldn't have written that report, or put that out there, we don't like that, and he can open it up and delete it. Even if he doesn't have permission to see the data, he can see the object of the report and delete it. So if you're working within payroll, for example, you might not want your administrator to be able to see your payroll apps, but they might want to be able to control them and delete them off. If that, on the other hand, is a really good report I've written, he can open it up on the server, or he or she can open it up on the server, take a copy of it and put it into the master application and publish that out for everybody. So that's a way of collaborating in the design and also on the actual usage of the reports, and that could be done via, you know, your mobile device or on your tablets or any browser that people are connecting in with. And the people who come in...
Sorry, Graham, you just touched on a very important issue, I guess, with ClickView as well. And you know, just a question around security. How do we, in a ClickView environment, how do you, manage version control and security and those sorts of features, so that we're all on the same page with regard to the data that we're looking at?
Right. So there's a couple of things there. So there's the security of the actual model itself. Once it's built. So people are only accessing this through the browser, so they're not actually on the server or into the report where they can muck it up or anything like that. They're basically looking at their view. You can give them control. They might want to move positions down of different parts of the report to different areas. It will remember how I want to see things, but it doesn't affect other people. What also happens with the security is when I'm logged in, so I'm authenticated by your Active Directory logon, whether it's within the organisation or outside the organisation, you're authenticated the same way. And should I be only allowed to see, say, Victorian sales for administration, when I log into the app, it identifies who I am and it reduces down the data on the server, so I only see what I'm allowed to see. And that security can be based around, we're used to within Dynamics GP seeing security based on cost centers or the like, but this security can go far beyond that. So you could say certain people are allowed to see certain tabs, or for example, certain managers might be allowed to see all the details of the general ledger, or there might be some range of accounts that people aren't allowed to see the actual detailed postings for. You might say a certain class of debtors or customers that you don't see, sales territories, you name it. Anything within the model, and anything can be brought into the model, anything within the model can be used to build the security on. And building security is not an onerous task for a ClickView developer. It's a set model. You just build it up in Excel how you want it to hang together, and then it is once you've made the decision, it's probably an hour or so to pull that into the model, and then put it out and test that security. And then there's the security on actually who's allowed to see the applications themselves as well. So you can work within the security model within ClickView, and just you can use pure Active Directory security on the ClickView server itself, and if people aren't members of the ClickView group, they don't even get access to the access point.
Yeah, and that's the key point, isn't it? That because the reporting's delivered by way of ClickView documents or dynamic applications based on the security privileges of those individuals, those applications can be tailored to those, and they only get access to those applications, or users just get access to those applications. Look, I mean, we've got a couple of minutes still, so if there are some other questions, please do ask them. This is not your last opportunity. You can direct those questions to Fraser or your account manager post this webinar. But just at this webinar, if you'd like a question answered, please just type in another question into your text box. The last one, Graham, I've got for you is how do we access applications again and you know, collaborate on devices? We talk about Insight everywhere, and can you talk about how ClickView delivers to all range of devices, perhaps?
Yeah, well, basically you're designing for a browser experience, so any device that you can get a browser on your phone or your tablet or your iPad or the like, you can access it through that. Speak to the iPad because that's what I use. You know, if I open up an application on the iPad and create a shortcut to the home page on the iPad, it shows there as an application. So when you open it up, you actually see it as an app without seeing the top of Safari. I know there is a application for the iPad, just a ClickView application, which allows you to open up your documents within there as well. And there is also offline. So with the in the iPad, you can take the data offline, so you can access it and have a copy, and you can sort of look at it on the plane or the like if you so wish while you're traveling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, I mean, for Field Force and for Salesforce, I know that's particularly important. I know of a case study, a client, GP client, in fact, a SmartInsight client that you know, Salesforce receives or has their sales information on mobile, and every time they go to see a customer, they can bring up that customer's details, their purchasing history, and have and you know, empower themselves to have the right sort of discussions with that customer at that time, and it brought about massive efficiencies in the way in which they're conducting their business. Just wanted to wrap up, I guess, if there aren't any further questions. Yeah, look, you will obviously be able to ask questions of your account manager and Fraser Moore should you need or should you want to. You know, just in wrapping up about SmartInsight and ClickView. Firstly, ClickView is a business intelligence and analytics platform, and indeed one of the leading business intelligence solutions on the market. We have developed SmartInsights to quickly and easily and cost-effectively visualize information out of Dynamics GP, and to deliver ClickView as a reporting and analytics solution to your organizations. And we went through a number of different ClickView applications: the financial application, the sales application, the project accounting one, and a purchasing one as well, just to give you some examples as to how ClickView applications can be customized off the SmartInsight data model, the data model that we've developed in working with our GP clients and delivering SmartInsights to them. Lastly, I guess just wanted to flag that there will be a survey form, or is a survey form, that we'd like for you to complete on this webinar. It allows us obviously to better our presentations and to deliver the sort of information that you're expecting of us, and you know, just to give us some insight into what you thought of this presentation and how I guess we can improve going forward. Look, just wanted lastly to thank you all for your time and for attending. I hope you got some insight into what Dynamics GP SmartInsight is, and the sort of reporting and analytics functionality that ClickView can deliver to your organizations. So I hope it's something that we can discuss with you further, that perhaps I can have a conversation with you about as well. So do feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have of ClickView and Dynamics GP SmartInsight. Again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for attending, and we look forward to talking with you further.